My fiance and I got engaged in June, and we also got an apartment together because he told me living with his parents and working upset him. So I've been working 2 jobs to pay for rent and his therapy and treatment, and I cook and do the chores too because he's depressed. But the problem is, sometimes he tells me he doesn't love me and changes his mind about marrying me. Then a few days later, he says he didn't mean it, and it was his depression making him say that. So when I try to explain that it's hurtful when he says he doesn't love me and doesn't feel anything for me, he doesn't think it's a big deal. But it is taking an emotional toll and is affecting my performance at work. And I'm scared I'll lose one of my jobs and be unable to pay for anything. I'm strongly considering requesting my fiance to move back in with his parents for now, and me to move to a place with roommates to take the burden off. I would still pay for his treatment. Would I be terrible if I did this, given he is unhappy with his parents? The thing is, how do I know it's not my fault for being a witch? He often says I'm a witch or nasty if I don't buy him stuff, but we don't have much to spend on luxuries, and overall being a bad partner. He also says I'm stupid because I don't follow the news, and I guess that's my fault. And overall, he says that I'm old and unattractive. I am 5 years older than him. So my point is, I feel like I'm the one making him not love me. So, am I the idiot if I move him out to his parents? Not the idiot. I'm a person with severe clinical depression here. His behavior is cruel, inexcusable, and vile. Depression is never an excuse for cruelty. Forget telling him to move out, leave him. He is not your financial responsibility. He needs tough love and to do these things for himself because he wants to for himself. Yup, this. Don't walk, run. This is him taking full advantage of you, hurting you, and then relaxing in the knowledge that you'll still take care of him. Take care of yourself. As hard as it will be to leave, it will be 100 times harder to stay and live like that and marry someone who treats you this way. Not the idiot. There's a saying, don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. He's not healthy enough to get married. He needs to work on that. You are overwhelmed and burning out. You're going to end up with poor mental health too, from carrying the entire burden 24/7. He should at least try to cook and clean, even if it's inconsistent due to depression. Not the idiot. I may get downvoted for this, but run, 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 and do not look back. He is at best depressed, and at worst, just an idiot using you. You're working 2 jobs, get emotionally hurt, and for what? Don't work yourself to the bone to support him. Seriously, you are only engaged. Run. Think of how you feel now, and imagine how magnified that will be in 30 years. And if he is just an idiot, that is going to get worse. You have no permanent ties, no kids, no marriage, no mortgage. Run, 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 OP. The second option. This does not read like a depressed person's actions. I'm sorry, as I know he very well could be depressed, and I'm trying to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. He is just a user. Don't just kick him out. Just leave. Don't just leave. Run away. Please don't pay for treatment. Never see him again. Everything you're explaining is a waste of your time, money, and emotions. You will be the idiot if you stay OP. So stop worrying about your boyfriend's depression and start worrying about yourself. My brother and his wife had their first baby 7 months ago. My mother, who lives with me, recently started watching the baby instead of placing it in daycare. So the baby is at my house all week. It's been a month, and my mom says that the baby barely sleeps, will cry and show signs of tiredness, but only naps for half an hour at the most. My brother and sister-in-law have also told us that the baby still wakes up almost every 1 to 2 hours throughout the night like a newborn, and it's extremely exhausting. They've tried plenty of different things, but nothing has improved much. The baby only drinks breast milk. While I know every baby is different, and what works for some might not for others, I still can't help but think they aren't feeding the baby enough. As a mother of 3 myself, all my kids started differently. One ate baby cereal at 4 months, another didn't take to solids until 6 months, but I think I have a good sense of when a baby is ready to start taking in more. After finding out that they only feed the baby 4 ounces at a time, I suggested talking to the pediatrician about starting baby on solids. They said the doctor already gave them the go-ahead, but my brother and sister-in-law didn't think the baby was ready yet. So I said I think upping his ounces in milk will probably help baby sleep better, fuller, longer stretches. They brushed me off. Then last Friday, my mom watched the baby and decided to give the baby a smashed up banana, which the baby loved. My sister-in-law was angry, and obviously I can see why. It wasn't my mother's call to make for numerous reasons, but my mom wouldn't back down, saying they were starving her grandchild. So they called me and basically demanded I get in the middle and make my mom apologize to them, or she wouldn't see the baby anymore. I told them I think she should apologize for not getting their permission, but I don't think that my mother is wrong for her reasoning. They ought to hear other parents out because they aren't feeding their child enough, and maybe because they're new parents. They called me some choice words and said they don't feel comfortable leaving their child at my house anymore until we apologize. I said I wouldn't give their baby anything they didn't want me to, but I will not apologize for voicing my opinion. Am I the idiot for not just apologizing and keeping my thoughts to myself? So now my mother and I might not get to see the baby for the foreseeable future. Not the idiot, and please call CPS on them. Failure to thrive is more common than people think. I'm not saying they deserve to lose their baby, but they need a slap in the face. Babies can deteriorate very quickly. I knew a woman who did not produce milk, but refused to formula feed and was threatened with removal multiple times until she finally realized her baby was starving. He's a teen now and seems okay, but still. This is ridiculous. There are other steps you should take before calling CPS. You can't go back from that. Do you want a file created for your family to potentially lose their child when you could call their pediatrician and, I don't know, talk to them? So far, it doesn't sound like the family has had any actual sit-down conversation, and the only words they've shared have been overly emotional, which means no one got their point across clearly. What? My baby is 9 weeks old and on 5 ounces, so a 7-month-old should be at least 7. OP, you are not the idiot for what you said, but you are the idiot if you continue to let them starve this poor child without doing anything about it, like reporting it. Normally I'd side with the parents, but in this one, I'm going team grandma all the way. You are the idiot because you accused them of starving their baby, which you had no reason to. Your mother is the idiot for feeding the baby solid food against the parents' wishes, which is horrible in itself, but also fed the baby banana of all things, mainly sugar. It has no nutritious value and is sweet. So if she wanted to prove anything, all she did prove was that the baby likes sweet things. This is the banana fiasco, just all around wrong. Also, you were feeding your baby cereal at 4 months, so clearly you have very limited knowledge about baby feeding. I'll try to keep this short. I'm 22 years old and have extensive trauma that does not allow me to have my back turned to anyone in a public area. If so, I start shaking, crying, and having full-blown panic attacks. I would also like to add that I have a service dog. Well, on the particular bus I take, the disabled seating is perfect because it's in the back and facing everyone. On this day, the bus was pretty crowded, so all the seats were taken. I could feel myself getting pretty anxious already, so I approached a man in a disabled seat who didn't look visibly disabled. I asked him if I could have the seat, as I could feel my anxiety getting worse. He said I didn't look disabled and explained that he has a really bad knee and another medical condition that I can't exactly name, but it didn't allow him to stand for long periods. He pulled out a cane that I hadn't seen previously before. I pointed to my service dog, telling him that although I don't have a physical disability, I was very much considered disabled. I told him that the ride was only about 5 minutes long, and I would appreciate it if I could just sit in the meantime so I wouldn't have a panic attack and disturb the other passengers. He shook his head, saying he needed the seat more, regardless, and that I was just a big baby. The woman next to me chimed in to say since I could stand, I would be fine, and asking him was rude of me. I hadn't meant to be rude, but ultimately, I did end up having an attack because of the stress of the situation. It was embarrassing, as people were staring. Before I got off, I explained to the man that the disabled seating was for people of all disabilities, and I wished he had just been kind enough to let me have a seat for a few minutes. As I think about it though, I'm not entirely sure I was right in this situation. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot, not for asking him for a seat, but for pitting your disability against his and blaming him for your panic attack. You are both disabled. Standing up in the crowded bus would have been hard on each of you, but for different reasons. So you were each entitled to the seat, but he got there first. Disabled persons already took the disabled seating, so your option was to suffer the 5 minutes of your ride or get off and wait for the next bus. You, and not this man, are responsible for what happened due to your choice to stay on. You are the idiot. You tried to have a disability competition with a man who, A, was there first, B, could not stand. Also, you pointing out that he didn't look disabled is hypocritical because you seem mad people said that to you. It is also hypocritical to say to the man, "It's only 5 minutes long," for him to stand when that only 5 minutes was too long for you. Going to be a bit blunt here, but if your anxiety gets so bad to the point where you can't have your back to an open space in public, then you probably should plan for how to cope with this on public transport. Just hoping for the best and prioritizing your situation over someone with an apparent disability is a terrible way to go about this. I'm going to heavily disagree with everyone here and say no idiots here. There's nothing wrong with simply asking for the seat. And when he said no, you didn't seem to egg him on too much. The only idiot is the lady that couldn't mind her own business. Unfortunately, many people still don't understand that not all disabilities are visible and aren't necessarily physical either. I'm sorry you ran into that situation. I hope people become more understanding of your experiences soon. My girlfriend's brother owns a small cafe and bakery. It's a relatively new place, but I recommend it to everyone who wants a place to go. Everything there is good quality, and it's very cute. It's worth mentioning that my girlfriend and her brother are very close, and my mom knows this. This past weekend, my mom was in town and decided to visit the cafe with a few of her friends. In the middle of the afternoon, while my girlfriend is at work, I get a very distressed, angry phone call from my mom, demanding to speak to my girlfriend. I was baffled, and I could tell she was crying, so I tried to calm her down a little before I could piece together what happened. Once she's ready, she starts ranting about how terrible the cafe was. She claims that the staff treated her terribly and how my girlfriend's brother embarrassed her in front of her friends. I asked her to elaborate, and she explained that she didn't bring any money to pay because she thought it would be free. After all, she is a friend of the owner. However, because she didn't have any money, she was forced to ask one of her friends to pay the bill. To be fair, I found this all a little funny and absurd, so I laughed. Looking back on it, I probably shouldn't have done this, as this really aggravated her. She got mad and proceeded to call my girlfriend a terrible person who is never going to be a part of the family. I got mad, telling my mom that it's not my fault that she's broke. After that, she hung up. I thought it was fine, but then I found out that my mom left a pretty bad review on the cafe's website, harassed the cafe, and left my girlfriend a string of badly written text messages. I feel bad because I don't want my girlfriend or brother to suffer because of my actions. Not the idiot, but you really should have a talk with your mother about how trash her behavior was, considering no one has ever said she would get a free ride there. Also, I would apologize to your girlfriend and her brother about your mother's behavior and work on getting her to apologize and take the review down. Yeah, this isn't even about the mother being broke, it's about her being entitled. Not the idiot, OP, but I agree. You might want to clarify this isn't about whether she could pay. It's about her assuming she had to, based on basically nothing, and then getting shirty because it made her look bad, when perfectly reasonably, she didn't get a free meal for multiple people. Not the idiot who would show up to a cafe and expect that they're entitled to free food because they have a connection to the owner without even speaking to someone beforehand. Wouldn't, if anything, you want to support the new small business of a family friend? While you maybe should not have laughed, your mother is undoubtedly the idiot here. That said, you should do your best to communicate with her and try to undo the damage she's trying to cause to your relationship and the business. OP, I suggest you tell your mother to take the false review down, or you will write a response explaining the exact situation as you did here, noting she is not even related to the owner. She was never told she would get free food and went into the establishment demanding and assuming because she's the owner's sister's boyfriend's mom. She felt she could show off and demand food for free from a small business and was upset when she found out otherwise. If she wants to sabotage a business publicly, then she can have the story set straight publicly. My husband, Rod, 52, is legally blind. He is not completely blind, but close. It's not a genetic issue, but a brain injury that happened when he was a baby. Rod is completely independent, but needs a little help for reading small letters, cooking, typing on a computer, etc. Rod, in my opinion, is a great father and husband. However, my daughter Raina, teen, has always been a little resentful of Rod. Growing up, she didn't have the normal father-daughter experience. Raina has always been into sports, but because of Rod's incapacity to engage in a physical activity involving coordination, they can never bond over that, and Raina never forgave Rod for it. My husband feels incredibly guilty about this. Raina is going through her angsty teenager phase. She's been acting out, is rude to everyone, especially my husband. Raina likes upsetting Rod, and he never defends himself, so he's the perfect victim. We were going out on our first family outing since the global panini started. To go out, Rod uses these big chunky glasses that make his eyes look huge, almost like a caricature. My husband is super insecure about his appearance when he uses them, and our family knows it. So my daughter came downstairs, and with the most offended tone of voice, she says, "Oh my God, Dad, are you trying to embarrass me? Your eyes look horrendous with those glasses on." I was angry. I canceled the outing and told her to go to her room and not come out until dinner time. Raina is big into her appearance. She wears colored graduated contacts because, ironically, she needs to wear glasses, but she hates to wear them. She isn't uncomfortable wearing them or gets any headaches. She just doesn't like how she looks with her glasses on. So as a punishment, Raina will not be allowed to wear contacts for a month. I told Raina about her punishment, and she was tremendously mad at me. She has a party in a week, and since the punishment is for a month, Raina will attend the party with her glasses on. She's also returning back to in-person classes, so she will attend school wearing glasses. She says that she will apologize to Rod and never disrespect him again, but I don't believe her. Rod chimed in and said that maybe the punishment is way too harsh, but I don't think so. Raina then called me names and locked herself in her bedroom. Rod says that I'm being too hard on Raina and bordering idiot territory, which is why I'm here. Not the idiot. This seems like a proportionate reaction to me. She intentionally made a hurtful comment about someone's appearance. As punishment, she's not permitted to use something that enhances her appearance to herself, but she will still be able to function normally without. I totally agree with this, but want to emphasize that she's just not making fun of his appearance. She's making fun of his disability, which adds significantly to the cruelty and shouldn't be overlooked. To me, it's no different than making fun of someone's wheelchair or prosthetic limbs. Not only is it bullying, but it's flat out ableist and needs to be nipped in the bud. I'm reading here that Raina is very insecure about how her eyes look and uses colored contacts to help cope with that. You're taking away that coping mechanism as a punishment. And if she is insecure about how her eyes or glasses look, I would bet she's projecting some of that onto Rod, which certainly doesn't help along with what you said about sports. I'm not sure if this is idiot territory, but I think this punishment is not helpful for the situation or Raina's relationship with Rod. No idiots here, but I think you should think about if Raina is really big on her appearance or if something else is going on there. OP writes this, making it seem like her husband is another child and not a full and equal partner and parent. I doubt the daughter's resentment stems from her dad not physically playing sports with her, but rather that he doesn't provide the support, boundaries, and stability of a parent. What about being blind makes the dad here incapable of disciplining his child and reacting appropriately when she lashes out specifically at him? OP makes it sound like his insecurities and anxiety prevent him from parenting at all on an emotional level.